low is it?
There's a big.
It went back so they could take care of the trees.
Yeah.
Then they fell down with the ice storm. They never.
Yeah. What I'm worried about is, you done?
No,
No.
this is still.
Okay. There's a drain line going into that detention basin. So if there's a sinkhole, it could be there's a cracked RCP or whatever, so we don't want that either. All right. Thank you. You got to tell me these things. I thought it was just on the list. We'll take care of it, spring.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Spring's.
Yeah.
It's been there for. It's been.
I don't.
I think that's
progressively getting worse.
The
You don't
John
understand what we get sued with. Anyone
really?
trips and falls, or a kid falls off a spike and they take a picture, forget it. And now I know about it. I'm being recorded. So, thanks for telling. No, yeah, thanks for telling.
Anybody else on?
Right.
I cannot hear you, gentlemen. So Don's on, but he can't hear us.
That's replaying.
Is that an echo?
She's testing the system. So we want to do the microphone? Oh, there we go. Okay. Now audio would be our microphone. Maybe go all the way to the left.
I gotta get everybody.
Oh, okay. Or collecting the crowd.
Ryan today?
What?
Ryan coming?
I don't think so. He's slammed.
Is Ben Kelly JH Architects? He's
Yes, he is. I know. He's one of Brian's architects.
Are those the people?
Well,
that
he
are
might
on?
be. It's Kunsky Hume stuff.
Don,
Ben Kelly,
Patrick, Rocco,
Don,
Ryan.
Doug, Patrick, and Rocco. Okay. So fast than I come.
Yeah.
So much work.
Yes, yes, you may.
Steve Wood.
Oh, we got a lot of people on Zoom today.
Oh, we're giving something away here?
Free internet.
You have a few projects on the list, or just a few.
We're stuck down the hall.
There's the floating head.
Use that background.
I think Doug's technically on vacation, so he's being nice enough to zoom in. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Hey,
Don
Doug.
says,
Oh.
I can hear you, but I don't have his voice on my end. Okay.
Who's this?
Don.
Lisa's still promoting all of you to panelists, so you may not be audio equipped yet.
I don't see that.
We're gonna, you sure you want to
Oh,
allow
there we
Don
go.
to talk?
Okay.
Hi, Don.
Yeah. Can you
We
hear
can
us?
hear him. Yep.
Don, I think we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
It's a great picture, too.
Decline, he needs to, I got him.
Patrick, allow yourself to be a panelist if there's a prompt. Oh, I think he Yeah.
will rejoin.
Rejoin, all right, he's coming in. All right.
His, Rocco, somebody talk back and see, can you can hear us and
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thanks, Rocco.
Yep.
Patrick, you good?
I think I'm good.
All right, we hear you loud and clear. All right, we got everybody.
So Lisa, let me know when you're ready.
I think I'm ready.
Okay, we'll start the meeting. Approval of the minutes from January 8th. I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Audience of citizens, representatives, friends of the Worthington, friends of the Meeting House?
They're on the agenda.
Yeah,
so-
okay, so that's right, they're not citizens.
Yeah.
All right, never mind, strike that. First up is 240 Kensington Road. Brian?
Good evening. Hi. I'll try to make this brief, but I have a lot that we can accomplish tonight. So as promised from the last month, we are ready to close out the Millennium contract with 240 Kensington Road. And in order to do that, we've had discussions with Millennium about the outstanding punch list that was still remaining. And Millennium's original intent was to requisition for everything but $10,000 and then go about trying to complete the things on the punch list. When I talked and discussed this with Doug, and Doug discussed it with the police department, there was nothing on the punch list that was really raising to a level of being essential. It was a scratch. It was some damage on a door. It was a scratched lens on a camera that the camera is going to be replaced in the next project. It was a fastener at a urinal screen. They were things that the police department were satisfied with not having to replace. And Millennium was telling us that it was going to be another 4 to 6 weeks for them to go and reorder and replace things. So we've taken the approach tonight to offer Millennium's offered a $10,000 credit back to the town, and we can consider those items closed, but the town will get a $10,000 reduction on payment due. So I did put together a letter, and I apologize that all of this was kind of just today. So I thank Lisa for spearheading this, but I put together a letter. I addressed it to Mike, outlining the items that were still outstanding and the items that we were taking credit for as value. And so you would have a document that actually shows you what it was and how much we were asking for. In my opinion, if the town was to go and replace or repair the items that are on the list, you could do it easily for under $10,000. I don't think there's any thing that would raise to the level of $10,000 in total. We have also presented change order number 13. And change order number 13 is for the $10,000 credit back to the town. But it also has a $15,000 item on it because you had requested that they raise the mechanicals and add the screen fence in the back. And we had the work has been done, but we never documented it in a change order. So we needed to just clean up the paperwork and make that part of a formal change order. So change order 13 ends the accounting for change orders for the project. And its final contract amount for the work at the police department is about $158,000 on $2.5 million. So I think all in all, most of that $158,000 was waterproofing. that you had to do. There was some steel repair. That was the majority of the change orders. But it brings the total cost of the project of $2,683,665.02. And we reviewed the math. We were down to the 2 cents, so we're down to the penny, and everything correlates. So with that change order 13, we also submitted application for payment 14. And that application for payment is in the amount of $124,683.25. That does reflect the $10,000 credit for the outstanding punch list items. So that's my recommendation to the Public Building Commission, that I'm recommending that you approve change order 13 and application for payment 14. So I'm open to any questions that you have, but that would close out Millennium completely.
Brian, the only question I have is the as-built survey.
Yes.
It would be very easy for them to get it. How are we going to get that, and at what cost?
Well, at this point, it would be taking some of the $10,000 and getting that information in the back, or just having the town get the information they need themselves once the snow's off the ground and you can get out there.
Okay. I mean, the rest of this stuff, that's the thing that I think we need to wrap this up. The rest of this stuff is de minimis. So I agree with you. So as long as we can get that for less than $10,000 by an appropriate person, I'm fine with this. And your math, the payment and the change order adds up. So I'm in agreement.
I think you'll need the invert information in the area in the back if you're looking to make any additional changes back there. And I don't know if there's any anticipated changes that are going to happen in the back.
I assume the police department is okay with this in your conversations with them, right?
Yeah, Doug's the one that had the conversations with the police department, and Doug's on the line here too, so he can speak for that.
Okay. Doug?
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, as Brian said, all the admin, the chief, deputy chief, all the lieutenants, they're okay with, as Brian mentioned. So we can handle that stuff in house. If you want to make a note, maybe in the motion that money would stay within the project for the owner to use, that would help us so that if we go to get POs for any kind of surveys for the as-built or any kind of work inside, at least finance knows that money's set aside for the owner.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. All right, the only issue I have is I have the application for payment for $124,683.25, but it's dated in 2026. It should be 2025. We can use this, right? I'm not going to make them fill out another form.
It should have been 211. It says 1211. It should be 21126.
I'll initial it, and you don't have to. I'm not going to make anybody fill out paperwork, and if the town yells, just yell back. So I guess I then need approval for change order well, we got to do the payment amount first for $124,600. Change order first. So I have a change order here, number 13, in the amount of pardon my eyes. We have a $15,984.19 add for the raising of the indoor mechanical unit and the screening, and a deduct of $10,000 for a net add of $5,984.19. So I need a motion for an approval of that change order.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 13.
I'll
Second it. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then we have an application, final payment, signed off by everybody. Date changed for $124,683.25, which should close out this project. So, get an approval or a motion to approve that payment?
Make a motion, we approve the payment.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Done. Good, Brian, thanks.
Well, moving on, still at 240 Kensington Road, we
Right.
do have a project 2. And there was a meeting today that happened between Interior Design and the lieutenant and sergeant at the police department. So that was just to review how new finishes may integrate with the areas of renovation, which floors were going to stay terrazzo floors, which floors going to have another floor finish because there's no terrazzo present. So those items were discussed today. But I also have Ben Kelly on the line, and Ben is serving as my project manager for the project 2. Ben was also involved with project 1. So I just wanted to have Ben introduce himself and give you a little update on his schedule for project 2.
Hello, everyone.
Ben,
Hey, Ben.
Our project 2 is going well, and all of our consultants are busy at work. And our due date for final deliverable drawings and specs will be February 24th. I'm hoping to have a progress set drawings early next week, so the PD and the town can see progress we've made. But it's going well.
good. Any questions, anybody? Anybody out in Newland? Any questions? Okay, and
Nope.
I guess. No?
Well, also no.
That was no.
All right, then we have an invoice for the first payment, professional services on phase 2. The total contract is $142,500, and the first payment is for completion of schematic design phase, $35,625. Need a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion, we approve that.
Take a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, approved. Then, anything else, Brian?
I do. Well, I've got you here. I want to give you an update on the re-roofing of the Berlin Town Hall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we're looking to close that item out. Now, they have been notified that there's some water that's evident behind the fascia at one of the entrances. They have the photographs. They're coming out to review that as a warranty item to see if it relates to the roof. But all of their contract scope has been completed. And they are looking for final payment and also the resolution of a change order number 1. So I'll walk you through what we are doing here and recommending for the closeout of the town hall roof. I've submitted and recommend approval of application for payment number 4, and that's in the amount of $18,579.85. The $18,579.85 is the remainder of base contract scope. And you see, if you have a copy of that, you'll see at the bottom it says balance to finish, including retainage, is 0.
Yes.
And that's because that does not take into account any change orders. But as we all know, there was a change order that involved the additional plywood that they had to replace, and the amount of plywood was in excess of the allowance in the contract. So the next item I'd like to point out is change order number 1, also for the All Seasons contractor. And change order number 1 includes 3 items. It includes an allowance adjustment for the replacement of plywood for an add of $54,840.48. It includes a deduct for a wood blocking allowance that was in the contract that was never utilized, and they never needed to use that allowance. That deduct is $600 we had for replacement of blocking, which while they exceeded the plywood, they didn't need to use the blocking allowance. And a third item is when they applied for a permit, the building permit, the building department charged them the state education fee for the permit. And that came to the $96.46. And it's pretty clear in the bidding documents that the contractor should not include any costs for fees within their bid. And if there is a charge for a fee, a permit fee, it would be paid for by the owner. Well, they paid the $96.46 and they're just asking for reimbursement for that education fee. The town fees were waived, but the state education fee they could not waive. So it comes to a total change order amount of $54,336.94. And there was some discussion in past meetings if they could reduce the amount of the plywood replacement, because there was it was a large quantity. So was there anything they could do on the price? And they have extended to the town within this a $1,500 credit to the owner for the plywood. So it was something that they did not have to do per contract, but they have done as a goodwill gesture to the owner. So
Brian, in your opinion, that was fair and equitable for the change order?
yes. Yeah. They also reduced the unit pricing when they calculated it. So there was some additional savings because they reduced the unit price. All of that was in good faith with the town. There was nothing that they were obligated to do, and they could have just charged contract pricing. But we were we had a good relationship with them. I think they had a good relationship with the town, and they felt the job went well, and they offered that as a deduct. So the reason that this is not in the application for payment number 4 is because the town needs to go back to council and get additional money appropriated to the project. So I didn't want to hold up payment for contract scope. And I've asked them to submit this change order as application for payment number 5. So you have, and the only reason this is because application for payment number 5 has to then go back through the council to get financing appropriation. And that may take additional weeks to get that on the agenda for the council and to get payment. So we didn't want to hold up payment on 4, but he understands that payment on 5 may be delayed.
It will be delayed. You don't have
It will,
authority.
yeah, it will be delayed. He understands that. He just didn't want the whole amount to be delayed.
Okay, I get it. So
Hey, Brian.
4 is $18,600 round numbers.
Yes.
Yep, we're okay with the rest. The 54 remaining has to be approved by town council.
And that's why you have a change order for it in front of you. And you also have the application for payment that aligns with the change order.
Okay.
And the
Brian,
change order should
is there any drawings showing the extent of the plywood replacement on the roof? Anything marked up or anything like that?
No, Don, I don't think that's been documented that way. I see where it was done. I don't know of anything that's been documented as to where it was.
Because what was I know you have the listed of sheets, but square footage wise, it had to be a pretty big area for that kind of money.
It's 200, if I remember 221 or something like that sheets. There's a lot of plywood.
Yeah, 262 sheets.
Me too.
And that wasn't all in one place either. There were some low roofs in
Yeah.
the back. Like I know that Board of Ed low roof had a lot of rot on it. And there were some areas over the town clerk's area on both sides was they found a lot of rot.
Doug, did you see any of this?
Hey, Don, yes, and commissioners, we do have photos of, it was pretty much the whole west side, the whole west wing of town hall, finance, all through that west side was pretty much, everything was replaced. So that quantifies the unit cost based on all the sheets. Mike saw it. We were up in the penthouse. We have pictures, so
Excellent.
it was pretty substantial.
Excellent, excellent. I just want to make sure we have it documented to the extent as much as possible of where it happened. So when you go to the town council, it's pretty easy to give them a graphic saying, okay, this whole, like you just said, the whole west elevation was junk, it was all rotted out and we had to replace it. It has been 30 years or 40 years since this was done. And I mean, it's an easy explanation, but the photos are great. And again, if you got just a diagram you can mark up, it makes it that much easier.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Doug, have you seen, or has anybody from the town seen the I don't want to really call it damage, but the water that Brian's been talking about?
Yes, it's over actually the engineering wing, the soffit and the fascia into the engineering wing. So now that things are thawing out, we've had some other damage with the downspouts through the masonry, and even though the heat trace is working, just with the substantial ice and snow. So when things thaw out next week, we'll get a better assessment of where this leak may be coming from. We can flood the gutters and kind of see if it's a seam in the lining of the gutters or what's going on with that.
So is it possible that it has nothing to do with the roof and everything to do with the gutters backing up?
Yeah, it'll tell the story once all the ice and snow's melted. We can tell if something backed up, and if something wasn't done or something's in a warranty status, they're going to make good on it.
Prevention for ice dams for what, Brian? Up to 6 feet on commercial buildings? I can't remember from memory what it is, but it's,
The ice and water?
yeah.
Yeah, because of the substantial overhangs that you have in this building, it goes back about 6 feet. So it's 3 feet in from the interior wall.
Right.
Plus
Okay.
everything that extends out beyond the exterior wall with the large overhangs.
Yeah, this is Don. I'd like to see a forensic on it, just of what caused the leak, because the ice and water shield should stop most of it. So whether they missed a spot or if there was an issue with the valleys or the way it was lapped in, I don't know. But I mean, someone should just take a look at it and get it documented.
Did
Yeah,
they have to?
My feeling is it's something with the gutter lining or the copper seams. It's something in that detail. I don't believe it's an ice and water issue on the sheathing. I think it's something in one of the joints in the gutters.
So it's the interface between the gutter and the roof, basically, you think?
Yeah, it's where the copper flashing meets the EPDM, and there's a lot of detail in joints. I got a feeling it's something in there based on what we saw in the conditions with the leak in the video and what we can see in person.
But they
So
made
what I'd like to
warranty
see, yeah, what I'd like to see out of this is just, Brian, again, if you could put together a forensic on it and, give us a report of what failed on that, because again, the details and stuff were sort of under your purview, so I want to make
Right.
sure they were done correctly and by the contractor, or if we had an error with it and whatever, it's being addressed. So again, we just spent all this money on a new roof and this shouldn't be happening.
Agreed. We'll document it also.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right.
You
then
want-
we have-
Do you want
Go
me to
ahead.
move? Do you want me to move on to a quick summary on the Berlin Peck Library and the high school?
Was it you already moved to pay?
No, I haven't moved
Oh,
it
okay.
yet. So yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Okay. The two projects at the library that are under the grant, the STEEP grant, we did get some comments back from DECD. CHRO, Human Rights, is going through some changes in their paperwork. So we are having to update our specs to some new documents that they are producing. And so we've completed the checklists and they are back in Doug's hands for submission to DECD, but we have a date of going out to bid for both of those projects of February 24th. And if we can go out to bid on February 24th, receive bids in March, we've talked about getting these on the Public Building Commission's agendas for April and also the council agenda for April. So those projects could get funded in April and started in early May. That's the same agenda, and it's pretty much the same time frame for the high school flooring, but about a week later. So end of February, going out to bid for the high school floor, receive bids toward the end of March, and then be on the same agenda for approval, PVC and council in April. So the flooring can start when school lets out in June. So we're going to the schedule that we want all these projects in front of you for funding in April.
Are the comments that the state have boilerplate that you can handle, or are they going to affect the bidding number?
No, we've handled them all. To the best of our knowledge, we've handled them all. We've got to submit it to the state so they can say, yes, we did a good job. We have applied for wage rates, and we'll be inserting those within the documents when we receive them. And that's my update.
Okay. Anybody else have questions? All right, then we have some.
Mr. Chairman, just one comment on the state projects. With the commission, we would obviously share prior to bidding. Once we receive approval from the state, we'll just share the package with the commission for review. But do you want to formally approve it in March, or are you okay with if we bid it once we get approval from the state? Would you like to see the packages and formally approve them prior to bidding, or are you okay with us sending them out?
This is Don. I'd have a couple questions. What materials are we going back with in the school, the high school specifically?
It's a tile product that we're taking up a tile and we're putting down a tile, but the exact tile is still being specified. The exact manufacturer.
You know what my concern is? I don't want to go back with a plant-based tile again.
No, it won't be.
Or
No,
a green.
We've looked at Tarkett. We've looked at Forbo, and before we put this out, the reason that we're going to probably be delayed a week on those is when we select the tile, we're going to have the manufacturer do an install and a pull test before we put that spec out on the street.
Excellent. And what are we doing with for a water membrane product or a sealant? What are we using? Has that been determined yet or no?
We're using an adhesive that's up to 100% RH.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
And that's why we're doing the pull test.
Right.
Excellent.
Right.
Are we doing multiple locations on the pull test?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there only going to
Very
be
good.
one manufacturer that you're speccing?
One manufacturer is the basis of design, but then or equal meeting that basis of design. And we have to do that. We have to do that. That's just
Yes.
public bidding. We have to do that.
True.
Brian, will
But
there be moisture mitigation?
You're maintaining the ability to reject though if they come back with something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Brian, is there any call for moisture mitigation as far as sealing the barrier prior to adhesive?
No.
Okay.
No, not with the adhesive that they have that they're going to be utilizing.
Okay, so then back to Doug's question, do we need to review this or are we okay with this going out? Because if we have to review it, it's going to push Brian's, the calendar back because we're not meeting again till the second week of March.
What I recommend we do is proceed immediately with getting it out on the street but while that's going on, we can review the documents, and if there's anything that we feel is urgent coming out of that, we could do a supplement to the bid.
All right.
Okay, yep. Anybody object to that course of action? Okay,
Thank you. We'll do an addenda as needed if anybody flags anything.
Right.
okay.
Right.
All right. All right then. Anything else before we let Brian go?
Just that you have to take action on those applications and a change order for the,
Yeah, I'm gonna go. You can hang on, and we're doing that right now. So I have, first things first, I have an application for payment, which is application number 4, which the one that Brian's requesting be paid, $18,579.85.
I motion we approve and pay.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Now do the change order.
Yeah, I might as well do
You
the
wanted
change
the
order.
change
before-
order to be with Act 5.
Right,
Right, but we're not gonna pay 5, we're just gonna do.
you're not gonna pay 5. So the
Right.
change order is gonna, and Act 5, I guess we have to technically approve recommendation of the change order, but we're not gonna pay Act 5 yet. So the change order, and everything adds up here, is an addition of $54,840.48, a deduct of $600, and an addition of $96.46 for a permit fee, for a total
I
of
make-
$54,336.94.
And make a motion, we approve pending town council final approval.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That approval is for the change order and the payment. Okay. And then we also have an invoice from Jakunski Humes for professional services rendered to date. Did we have to go over this already? For the completion of schematic design phase, $35,625, the initial payment, which they've done.
Make a motion, we pay it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then we also have an invoice from Jakunski Humes for 50% completion of schematic design phase for the Berlin High School flooring replacement. And the bill is for $6,750 on an, which is first payment on a $54,000. I need approval for $6,750.
Make a motion to approve.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Brian, I think you can go watch TV now. I don't see anything else left. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care.
Brian.
So we skipped around there, Lisa. We went to 8 as well, but I'm not gonna bother with the change it. Next up is elementary schools HVAC upgrades.
Patrick.
So I guess
Patrick is on the
Patrick
line.
and Mike.
He
and
knows all.
whoever. Patrick, you're up.
That is bold, Mike. I know all.
You know a lot more than me. How about that?
All right. All right. So I'll jump into the update for, get to my notes here, for Griswold. Come on. All right. So at this point, the main hallway piping installation is ongoing. There's an area of congested ceiling area. We're just looking at some shifting where the soffit may need to go. Looks like that's under an RFI right now with the architect. And moving down as far as the branch runouts, those have all been completed to the classrooms. Controls wiring installation is complete, and all the thermostats have been mounted. This week they started replacement of the unit ventilators. They actually did one mock-up room was E7, and the commissioning agent came out. I believe it was today. It was yesterday or today. They came, but the report came out today from the commissioning agent. And everything seems to be working as it should on the heating side, at least. Cooling is going to come once the chiller gets all set up. So basically, this is the mock-up we're using for that, and it was kind of all blessed. Moving down the mechanical room work, the layout for the pumps, the heat exchanger, and the associated components are all going to start in the next few weeks. They've started to jump into the logistics of actually installing the switchgear down in the main electrical room. There's some congestion down there that they're working through. Moving down to lead times, we've got the chiller. I think Courtney said the delivery receipt came today to the rigger's yard. I have to double check with them to make sure that was the case. The air separators are due to come on the 16th. The heat exchanger is March 24th, and the switchgear is currently, I know it's a delivery date of 6/2, but that's a ship date. So that's actually improved for us. Moving down to Hubbard, all the unit vents arrived and the fan coil units, and they're stored on site. They are on a little bit different of a path. They want to just take out all the unit vents and replace them basically once the heating season's over. We still just have to hold them to the schedule. I don't see that being an issue. It's a smaller school, smaller footprint. I think they'll be able to handle that just fine. As far as the main hallway piping, that they're kind of coming in the same issue as Griswold. They have some congested areas there that's causing some discussion, looking at some ceiling height adjustments with the architect. And same thing, similar points with the mechanical room, working on all the layout. And the forming is expected for the mechanical pads, for the housekeeping pads is expected to start next week. Branch valve installation is almost complete, and we're about 85% of the piping through the building. Another thing with Hubbard compared to Griswold is Griswold, they've already started the pad for the chiller. Hubbard, they're going to do that. They're looking to do that in one swoop starting in the spring. And then their lead times for Hubbard, the unit vents are there. The chillers, they're expecting March 30th. The pumps they have are delivered. The heat exchanger is expected on the 18th of this month. The air separator they have, their switchgear is expected to arrive in July. So that's our current update.
Okay. And I just want to
Any
point out,
questions, additions from?
yeah, I just want to point out that the shutdown on Griswold is going to be 4 weeks right now. That's why they're getting Newfield and Allstate are getting together with all logistics.
Right.
And they're having meetings every 2 weeks. I'm impressed they're starting that early because they are fleshing out what the school needs to do, like empty the freezers, and they're getting down to, and you've probably been through this before, about what needs to stay on and what can be shut down. So I think Hubbard is a short-term shutdown because their switchgear is replacing what's there, not new stuff, right, Patrick? Patrick,
I keep getting the two crossed. I think at Hubbard, I think it's a section they're replacing, whereas Griswold, I think it's the entire thing.
Right.
So they are looking at a much more involved. It's a 4-week shutdown is what we're looking at. What was really concerning was we were initially not expecting the gear to arrive until I think it was the middle of July, but now we're going to be getting it before the kids are out. So that's less of a concern, but there's a lot of planning that we have to do, especially when it comes down to Eversource. And that's why we're doing these meetings way in advance. and I think one of the big things we identified, and we're just going to have to work through it as we get through it, is the payment to Eversource for the work that they're going to need to do.
Yeah.
Um,
So when the source sends a bill,
Right.
you know the deal, right? You got to pay it before they start.
They don't even
I'd
put you
love
on
to
the
be in that
schedule.
business, you
They
know?
won't put you on the schedule until you pay the bill.
Right, yeah. So
Yeah.
what we're trying to do is make sure that when we get the bill, we can pop a check out so it doesn't hold back, you know, the guys who are doing the shutdown. So I think with that, one of the plans is to get them on this, like, they said 2 to 3, 1 to 2 weeks, get a month in advance, and then get the bill early so we can pop it out. But we can work with Kevin and expedite that payment anyway. So,
And if we have to, we can do an email. I mean,
right,
you know, if it doesn't fall within the meeting schedule,
right,
email something around. Otherwise, it's just going to hold it up.
right. So, well, on our end, there'll be some logistics that we, at least for that, we cut the check so it doesn't hold up the shutdown.
Yeah, I mean, looking at everything in the shutdown and the discussions that we've had, I think we're going to be okay. We keep meeting every 2 weeks, even if it winds up only being a 4-minute discussion. It's still going to be worth it. We might have an advance somewhere or some new information that we just need to keep tracking.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea, and it's working out well too, from what I can see.
Seven change orders.
7 change. Yeah.
So
Patrick, might want to take them through the change orders that Tom is flipping through.
I have 8 pounds of paper here.
Well, a lot of them are triplicates, so it looks worse than it is.
Still
So
7
there's a
change-
little bit of potentially a complication tonight. I realized this afternoon that I do not have change orders 1 and 2 on file. Does not seem like they've made it to you guys yet to sign. Somewhere along the way, I think that's my error.
Okay.
So how do you want to handle it, Patrick?
What was that?
So mathematics, we're not going to be able to reconcile to the math for 1 and 2 because we don't know anything about 1 and 2.
Right.
Okay. Well, according to change order number 3, the previously authorized net change orders are $20,942.
Is that right, Patrick?
Pulling up what 2. Yeah, that sounds right. So the first one we had was 14,000. That was for the chilled water isolation valves.
Right.
That we were putting in the corridors of each room. And then, so that was almost 15. And then change order 2 was the additional buried chilled water pipe they had to do around the gas line.
Right. They had to shift it away from the building around the other lines. Right.
Yeah, that was about $6,200. And I mean, I can briefly go through a description of each one that we're looking at here. So change order
And why don't you
3.
start with 3? Because I think 1 and 2, we can't approve anything until we get paperwork. It's just nobody's going to remember anything.
Okay.
But I don't mind approving 3 through 9 or 10 or whatever it ends
9, I
at,
think.
9. And then 1 and 2 it'll just be a mathematics exercise, considering the fact that Mike is okay with the work that was already done for 1 and 2. I mean, you're not disputing any of this, and there's no phantom Cadillacs in here, right? Okay.
Nope.
Anybody okay? Everybody all right with that?
Yep.
Course of action? All right, Patrick, start on 3.
All right. So number 3 is is what I was talking about before with the congested lower level at Griswold. We actually had to remove a door to be able to get the new gear, to get the old gear out and the new gear in. With the relocated grease separator and reinstall afterwards. So that was looked at for a long time with the architect, the engineers, and that came out to a total of scroll down here.
$18,752.
$18,752.
Okay. All right, 4.
4 was a credit in RFI 5. It's for the existing electrical feeds were actually found to be in good condition. This was reviewed with the engineers also. And instead of pulling that out and running new wiring, they're offering a credit in the amount of $22,631.
Okay, we'll give straight for a second. You're right. Well, sound
Did
reasonable.
somebody review that?
Yeah, that was reviewed by I keep want to say CES. It's not CES. BL companies.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number 5.
Number 5 is some relocations we have to do over the switchgear. It's a hot water line and a fire protection line. This one we're going to be using the allowance. This is a $0 change order for tracking purposes.
Okay.
The value of the work was about $8,600. That's also been reviewed by the engineer.
Yeah, I see most of the change orders other than until we get to 9 or $0. So you're using allowances for the,
Yeah.
well, continue. Go ahead. So that's all right. 6.
6 was just a issue with one of the enclosures, where how the new lines have to be routed separately. That's another one I'm going to use in the CM allowance to fund that. That was about a $6,300 line, but zero cost to you guys.
Okay.
Next one, 7, was after a walk with the fire marshal, looking at just walking through, seeing some of what we were dealing with at the openings in the walls. Another allowance item that we're going to be using there, $0 cost, and
$17,063.
That's what the balance is. With all those changes.
Yeah, it's a $0 on
Oh,
the
it's
form,
zero.
but he
I'm
has
sorry.
the allowance.
yeah,
Sure.
I got it right now in my value here. It's not showing for some reason. But it was all reviewed by BL also.
Yeah.
And the architect. And then 8. So this one was looked at a couple of times, the architect, and I think Doug was aware of this one too. This is where we had to put plywood under, there's existing plywood under the unit vents. We had to put those deteriorated. We need to put it back. It all has to do with getting the unit vents at the correct elevation with the counters. We're going to be using the CM allowance for that.
Okay.
Next was 9. Come on.
And then
This was
9.
for the arc flash and coordination study. This was not included in the specs. It is required by Eversource to do. It's a study we have to do for basically anytime we're doing major sections of gear. So this one is a $13,887 change order.
Are they just doing it for the gear, or is this for the whole building?
It winds up being basically you have to study the whole building.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's generated because of the new gear.
Right, but they're gonna provide labeling and study for all the panels and all this, basically everything in the building.
So it includes panels E, G, F, C, A, B, and 12 distribution panels.
Doesn't include the solar around. Okay.
So that does sound like it's probably the entire building.
Yep.
So that sums up the ones that are in front of you tonight.
So it looks like when you take all 7 of those, it comes up about $8,000 increase.
Yeah, if If you net out the
Right.
credit, yeah. It's less than 10 grand.
Yeah.
And no change orders for Hubbard?
Not yet. There is one in the works for,
Yeah,
we're still
they're
vetting
coming.
out. They have the same ARC flash study issue.
Yeah.
There's just some details we're working through on that. It's in Save Morse Court right now. Just some things with their supervision on it.
How did our MEP contractor miss that?
The arc flash study?
Well, the engineer, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's.
I mean, they should have been well aware of this.
Well, remember, CES was the original designer. BL companies now came in to do the construction admin. So CES is not even involved with these reviews anymore because they blew the bid. They didn't submit a bid. So BL companies is doing the construction admin. The original designer was CES.
Right.
So there's no opportunity. We
should've
didn't
been in the
ask them
spec.
how they missed it because and now it's a separate company. Yeah. But that's a question.
Yeah, I'd like to get a letter on how they missed it.
All right.
You know, just for the file, because I mean, this is something they should have known. It's not an unknown. I mean, am I missing the point here, guys? Or
No, I
You're exactly
agree.
right. There's
Yeah.
nothing we can do about it except for in the future know that if we ever talk to them about doing business again,
Yeah.
we can certainly ask them, how the heck did you miss something so basic as
Is this new? 'Cause
Study
I don't
No,
know.
this
No?
is done
Is
in
that
all
Jason
projects.
knew about
Yeah.
this right off the bat. So
Yeah.
this,
We have to do this on any projects where, especially
Yeah.
you're replacing.
And
the
that's
circuit
what I
switch gear.
heard.
Yeah.
And the conversations on both schools, like, hey, you got to do it. You have no choice.
You don't have a choice. No.
Yeah. All right.
no,
I'll,
I agree. I agree it needs to be done, but I mean, how did our designer miss it? I mean, it
Yeah.
should have been at least in the spec,
Should have
if
been,
nothing else.
yeah, listed in the bid.
all right.
I mean, it's good to have done for future for the both buildings. I mean, it'll be up to date for the town. But
All right. All right. We'll request a letter or a rationale or
an explanation. I mean, there's
yeah,
nothing we
explanation.
can do. I mean, they can volunteer to pay it for us, but since they're not involved at
Oh,
all.
that study
I
should
mean-
be included in the closeout documents too. The town
Yeah.
should keep a record of that because
Oh.
it's good to know
Right.
for
Well,
file.
You could just ask them for their E&O insurance too.
It's probably going to come out of their deductible, Don. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
14
right.
grand here and, whatever. I'm sure the deductible's like, I don't know, 50K.
It's a point for the future. If
Yeah.
they ever, if we
Right.
ever use them bid.
Yeah. And actually, it's probably good feedback to them to make sure it's in every other one. And why was it missed in this one?
And in the letter, you might point that out that, hey, in the future, missing something like that
I'll
might
just ask.
be reflected.
I'll just ask.
And
for them.
somebody has checked that it wasn't listed anywhere.
I think BL did.
Yeah, BL vetted this out too.
Yeah.
Okay.
They comb through the specs, and then they also they worked with the electrical contractor and the price. Well, not worked with, but reviewed the pricing, made sure they were looking at what they're supposed to be looking at as far as the questioning of which panels.
Yeah, I mean, I would just ask them the question, find out how they missed it. If there's a note anywhere, or if it was shown on the drawing, indicated anywhere in the drawings, I mean, you give them a shot to answer it. And then I'm serious about the E&O insurance. So
All right. Well,
It should be in the spec.
we'll take step one. Then you guys can figure out what you want to do with the information.
well, it's
All
just
right.
when you ask for it, it's a shot across the bow.
Yeah.
What happened? Why did it happen? And
Yeah.
how are we going to avoid this from happening in the future? So.
Yeah, and it was in both schools. I mean, they pretty much had the same specs for
Right.
both, except for the drawings and all that. So, but yeah, that's a code requirement or Eversource requirement or whatever.
Correct.
All right, we'll do.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Okay.
Just the pay apps.
Oh, the pay application.
I'm ready.
Take a deep
It'll be a
breath, Tom.
test after
Take
this.
a deep breath.
All right. We have a lot of pay apps and change orders to go through. So I'll go through Griswold first. So we have a pay app for Newfield Construction for $25,707.78, which is their normal monthly fee.
Make a motion, we pay it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Rocco abstains.
I'll abstain.
Okay, that's one. And then we have an application for payment from Allstate for $359,959.75. It's application number 5. And just let me see if everybody signed off on it. I just signed it.
There should be a transmittal sheet.
Yeah, this one.
You have a transmittal sheet? I don't see it.
Oh,
The sign off, it's right there.
Well, you might have it, but I don't. Anyhow, okay. It's been signed off according to the board. So $359,959.75.
Doug, have you taken a look at this work? Made sure it was installed for your,
Yes, Don, we've been following them.
yeah, you're good with it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What they're billing and what they're tracking compared to what's on site, we've been kind of checking in, so it's all jiving.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys are good with the workmanship that's going in place and you take no exception to it.
Actually, want to compliment. We haven't had any complaints, and we've also had some good shout outs from the staff at Griswold as far as Allstate, their supervision, Tyler. So we've had really, really positive feedback at both projects.
Excellent, thank you.
Good.
I make a motion, we pay?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we have a invoice from, is this from? BL, I'm sorry, BL for $3,125, which is
December,
NEP submittal reviews, which is what they typically do every month. Review of submittals, RFI responses, attendance at meetings, et cetera, et cetera.
December's invoice was
This is-
submitted the day after the last
last meeting, yeah. They blew it by a day.
So you have
Okay.
Yeah,
two
so you'll have-
invoices.
Yeah, I know, I'm going
Yeah.
to that. This is invoice number 1.
Make a motion, we pay it.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then we have an invoice for period ending January 30th of $3,125 for the same amount for the same services.
Make a motion, we pay it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. What if we gave them a discount for getting it in on time? Do you think they would? I'm all good. And I have a invoice from Fryer Architecture for services to Griswold School for $2,450. Coordination of open items, RFI, submittal review and response, weekly job meetings, and project review.
Make a motion, we pay it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Do change orders.
I want to go through the change orders. I'll just do them all at once. Rather than each one. I'm going to read them all at once and then we'll have one motion at the end. That's okay with everybody. Otherwise, we'll be here till midnight. Change order number 3. Already spoken about by Patrick for $18,752. Change order number 4. Change order is a credit of $22,631. Change order number 5. Whoops. Change order number 5 is a zero deduct change order. It's going to be coming from the allowance. Change order number 6, 0 change order coming from the allowance. Change order number 6. Change order number 7, again 0 coming from the allowance. Change order number 8, 0 coming from the allowance. Change order number 9 in the amount of $13,887 already previously discussed by Patrick, which is the request from the school board for an arc flash study, which was not included apparently in the original contract. So
I'll make a motion. We accept the changed order information from number 3 through number 9.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we go to Hubbard. We have an application from Save More for $359,119.50. And based on what I'm hearing, Doug, you're okay with all the work being done? You're tracking this as well? I think Doug might be still there, Doug?
No.
I'm sorry, Tom, say that again.
I said we have a payment from application from Save More for Hubbard for $359,119.50. You're okay with tracking that work being done at Hubbard as well?
Correct.
Yeah. Do I need a motion to approve that?
Make a motion to pay it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then we have DL again. It's just another one submitted one day before, after the meeting. Okay. So from DL Associates, we have an invoice for $3,125, which is for December's work.
For who?
Yeah.
DL.
DL.
For December?
Yeah.
They got it in one day
I don't know.
Yeah.
after the meeting where you chaired.
So they had 2 late invoices, one for Griswold, one for Hubbard. So you're
Right.
seeing 4 total tonight.
Right.
And these are the 2.
I'm just going school by school
Yeah.
rather than, it's the only way I can keep it straight here. I still need a motion for $3,125 for DL for December's payment.
I'll move we approve it.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We have again from DL for period ending January 30th, $2,500.
Make a motion to pay it.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Now we have an invoice from Fryer for work done through January 31st of $2,450. Same services.
Make a motion we pay it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then we have an application from SES. Let's see, yes, SES, I guess, for services ending December 31st, $2,136.
Make a motion we pay it.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And last but not least, we have an invoice from Newfield Construction for their regular monthly fee of $25,707.78.
Make a motion we pay Newfield.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Take a breath.
I think Patrick can go watch TV.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, I think you're all done, Patrick, except on the first 2, just submit them till to next month's meeting, in addition to anything else that might come up, and we'll reconcile the mathematics then.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Slab moisture review, we already went over. McGee Middle School.
Doug, do you want to take this?
Yes, it's actually going to council Tuesday night. We found some funding. Ashley in the town, so it's a town Board of Ed joint venture. So we have some funding to issue the RFP, or I'm sorry, award the RFP. So it's moving forward for the A&E services.
Oh, just for A&E services. They didn't find funding for the whole project because that's
No.
going to be okay.
Correct. Yeah.
It's 120,000 and change.
Yeah.
And that, if you recall, Friar Architecture won the bid, but then they held the prices, but they want to get
Right.
this rolling. So they got the powers to be to kick some money in. So
This will help with cost estimating for project budget once they complete everything.
Okay. All right.
yep, next week. Let's see what happens.
I wanted to figure out their programming out.
We got to figure out which. Yeah. Well, see it when it gets here. Community center, air quality units.
Actually, you skipped over the library roof, but I think that Brian
I
already
thought
did
we
that.
covered that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay,
Yeah,
you're
we
right.
already covered that.
Brian touched on the library and then the community center. It's all part of the bid package for the
Yeah.
HVAC.
Went over the payments and all that sort of stuff. So now we're on air quality units for the community center.
That's the same.
That's the same.
That's the same
package.
thing,
yeah.
right? Doug?
Correct. Yeah. The bid package is going to the state. The one for the roofing just went up to them this week. We just got the insurance requirements back from Corporation Council
I get
today.
confused
So
about this too, Tom. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting.
I
It's
thought
two
there was-
separate bid packages. It's all. It's because it's Steve funded, right?
Right.
correct.
Okay. Timberland, bunkers and bridges.
Bunkers still went to shutdown. Bart?
I think they're on hold.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
It's-
Well, it does. It makes sense. It's snow.
Put a snow on the
What are they
I haven't
doing?
seen any
So
fire
Saul hasn't called me, but I think it's because nothing's happening. You know,
Do they
right?
have the snowmobile trails going
There's
Yeah.
loose
They can't find the white balls in the snow.
Right.
All right, but no. All right,
No,
never mind. We'll move on.
It's. I would call it winter shutdown right
Yeah,
now.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Next one, the
bridges.
bridges. Okay. I went back and forth with Saul. We actually Bart and I had a meeting with here about the scope that AI had. So I had a couple of questions for Saul on which bridges they want to have the H20 loading, full highway loading versus the more golf cart pedestrian oriented loading. So let me get my little display here. So there's 6 bridges, and this is AI. This was AI's bridge numbering, which doesn't correspond to the golf course's bridge numbering. But these 2 bridges here are going to be full vehicle loading. So and they're the wider spans or wider, the bridge widths are basically, they're called the main bridges on their spreadsheet. And then the rest of them are H5 rated, which we can change if you want, but whatever. They're going to, kind of like pedestrian golf cart rated. So there's 6 bridges. So what I did was I took the
Are the
original.
2 main ones not up to code for big dump trucks and salt and?
I don't know what they're running over them
It's
now.
more ambulances
Yeah.
and dump trucks and bigger vehicles. It's 20 axle,
Yeah.
ton
yeah.
axles. So
Yeah. So they want to maintain that. They want to be
Oh,
able
yeah,
to,
yeah.
if they have a dump truck full of sand they want to bring over, whatever. They want to be able.
I guess my question was that's what's there now.
Yes.
We're not changing, not upgrading.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just confirmed with, and that was actually in Atlas's, their like precast package actually had those too. So
Right.
it's consistent all the way across, So the 6 bridges, I've changed the numbering on here to correspond to the golf course's spreadsheet and their maps, the original maps. And I just sent you out, and I'm sorry, Bart, it was at 6 o'clock, but I have a scope, an engineering scope, which I put together that basically takes most of the exclusions that AI had and puts them into the engineering scope. So you guys could take a look at it, let me know what you think. The problem is, I think, is that the fee's gonna go up. So AI's proposal to the Golf Commission was $150,000. So if we throw in the endangered species review, the geotech borings, watershed analysis, the structural for the abutments and all that, I have a feeling this is going to go above $150,000, but I think we have to go out to bid, for this.
Was it for the endangered review or just the NDDBB?
Well, you can take a look at what I put, and then if you want to pare it down, in fact, it basically is the determination, review, and then coordination with DEP. It's nothing further than that.
No,
now,
if
there's a management plan required, then that's going to be
Because
additional.
a biologist going to cost $20,000.
20? Okay. So anyway, so it's soup to nuts. It goes from, it includes everything, preliminary, final, bid package, construction administration, structural engineering, geotech, the wildlife stuff, the wetland delineation, and the flood studies. So take a look, see what you think. And I think the problem with this is where the funding is going to be, but I think we have to get the scope so that the golf course has a good design. And as Bart pointed out, the Atlas approach actually had abutments in the channels. So they're getting flooding, and you were right, they get flooding down here. So there might actually be pinch points that are artificially created by the bridge like structures squeezing the channel. And I talked to Saul about, explained, it's not just a 100-year flood. It's a 2-year, the 5-year, the nuisance flood. So the more frequent storms, you might get flooding. If you do this right, you might alleviate that, or reduce it anyway, So as Bart suggested, we probably need to do like a little local watershed analysis to see, well, what needs to pass through these structures, and then we're going to go behind the top of the bank, I would think.
And what are they going to do with the? I saw something about the existing bridges.
Yeah, so I talked to Jerry Salvio, who's their their field superintendent, and he was saying that the pedestrian bridges aren't doing too well. There were the college projects, the college kid projects, and he said you may not even need them, but maybe we study them, maybe have the engineering firm. I didn't put it in there in this, but I think we should, to have them take a look at them.
I was thinking nobody goes over that bridge.
I don't play on that course, so I don't know. Yeah.
You could take that bridge and move it back over here and get rid of that bridge they built.
And Jerry was even saying, like, is either one needed? He was saying that, they're not critical.
You got to go down there anyway.
Yeah.
But at least that's the crossing if your ball's over here.
Yeah.
The problem is this one, tees are right here. You go over anyway, and nobody's going to land the ball right there.
So that's a question to the Golf Commission and to Saul. Out of these two, the rest of them are staying, have to be replaced. But these two, what do you want to do? You want to take one out, flip one to, and they're actually, they're movable. Once you take the pins out, bang, you can just move them. So move one of them. Because I think one of them is not doing too well, and Jerry's a little concerned.
Well, I think one of them is floating. It's not even anchored.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that one was pretty securely anchored, and another one's sort of just kind of resting there, relying on gravity. Yeah. So take a look at the scope. We'll get comments back to me. We'll just take this to almost like an RFP level, and if you guys want to go out to it, we can get bids and proposals. And we're going to have a qualifications aspect to this thing too. It's going to be like an RFQ, RFP. So we don't get any unqualified engineers studying. The other issue, which is a shorter term item that Jerry mentioned, was the bumpers. The bumpers are failing, and to me, that's a safety issue. So I would think that for this next season, we'd want to do something to replace the bumpers in some way. So, and I don't know if you've looked at them, talked to,
It's just a matter of replacing peppers, that was it.
Yeah, well, they're basically ties, like railroad ties or something. Right. So it's not a big deal. But since the PBC now kind of owns this project, I don't know if you want what you want to do. Do you want to just say golf course?
Are there toilets and plumbing in these bumpers?
No. No.
I don't know how we own this.
All right.
Here we go. I know. I'm just
do you know what a bumper is? That's a bumper.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
you don't drive off the bridge.
So So you don't, yeah, so the cart gets redirected out of the channel.
After you have a
It's
couple
amazing.
beers.
So I'm raising this right now. It's not a public safety issue right now, because no one's driving over there. But Jerry raised it, and he said that, considering this is not going to happen
So
for
they
a
have a
while.
list of the players who hit the bumpers more than anybody else over at the
I
course.
don't believe they.
Ban them from playing.
I don't know. So anyway,
Just
just
basically railroad ties.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mike. Hey, Mike,
Yes.
on the bridges with the bumpers, is it just 4x4 wood right now, or what are we looking at?
6x6.
Yeah, 6x6s, and in some cases they have double 6x6s with a little slot for drainage or something. So, but basically they're like railroad ties,
Yeah.
You're right.
And
And to me, it's not a big deal. It's although Jerry said they might have to do something underneath, because if the deck under the underlying deck is a little rotten, they'll have to do something.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be some maybe some sistering or whatever going on.
It's a standard maintenance issue on those bridges. It should be addressed every 8 to 10 years.
Okay, so
So-
that's golf course and commission handle that, go for it too. Okay.
Well, I mean, I
That's
think
sure.
when we design the new bridges, all that'll be taken into consideration. It's just it's a temporary fix for the next, let's say, 2 years until we get this
Right.
thing done.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to know how you wanted.
Well, point out the saw, that should be in the capital budget. That's exactly right. That's a maintenance issue that
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood. So that's where the bridges are right now. So we have.
So what do you
Probably-
want us to? We don't need to do anything.
Well,
other than
no,
you're
just
gonna
take a look. I just sent it right before the meeting.
Okay. So take a look at it, and anybody has any comments, send
Right.
it back to Mike.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm sure Bart will be. Brett, do you want to take the red pen now? So.
I'll call you tomorrow morning.
So that's where we stand on the bridges.
They're reading material this night.
No, he'll be shredding me. I know. I'll take this out of
Good
here.
job, Mike. Good job.
Not yet. When the bridges are finished, then it'll be done.
We're gonna put a car wash in.
Yeah, I'm spending less time on this than I did at the car
A
wash.
cart wash.
If anyone wants a hard copy, do you want a hard copy? No, you definitely want to.
Sorry,
Does anybody else want one? You'll take one? All right.
As long as you made the copies, you might as well take it.
I don't want to.
There's nothing electrical in here. Well, they do have conduits running along two of the bridges. No, but we have that in there. So.
Zapper, so that anybody who hits it
Yeah,
gets that.
There you
They
go.
won't hit them anymore. All right.
All right. That takes care of the bridges.
Steve is now the resident expert on the splash pad. What's up with the splash?
Oh,
I mean, I saw the plans. I thought they were very good.
Yeah.
I saw Don's comment, which I totally agree with. There's way too many chiefs.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They clearly know what they're doing based on this.
Yeah.
The
looks good. Yeah.
architect knows what to do, what to incorporate, and so
Well, what's happening now is the Parks and Rec Commission, if they haven't met already, are meeting right now, and these are being distributed to them tonight. Jen's basically going to get their rankings and
Right.
feedback and thoughts. I sent a couple of your comments, and I circulated around our office too, so I sent Jen our comments. But I said basically, the PBC is not directing this. This is up to
yeah, you guys.
Parks and
Maybe
Rec.
we're just sort of.
So
This is not something we should direct.
Right. Right.
Far
Right.
more educated
But-
people to do it, but if they're asking for our opinion, which they did, I think we all said we like number two.
Number two.
Rocco's first
Yeah.
one to respond is dead right. That's
Yeah,
it.
and there were more number twos, votes for number two as well, just so
Yeah.
you know from here. So, but that doesn't mean anything because that's
Right. They
yeah.
could
But
pick
anyway,
number six.
but hey, a lot of them are nice. I mean,
Yeah, they are.
I'm not a playground, or a splash pad expert. I don't know how this thing's supposed to work. So anyway,
So we'll
that's
opine on the restroom building, but the rest of it, those are the experts.
yeah, and you have no trouble with the prefab approach on the restroom building, right?
No
I figured
trouble.
that's cost effective and they look nice,
Let's get a 5-gallon
Yeah.
bucket for all of us.
So that's basically.
Steve Wood's been on the whole meeting.
Yeah, but
Oh.
he's here for the track. But if he wants to talk about the splash pad,
No, I think Stevie's done a lot of work on the splash pad, and we still have a lot to go. So unless you have anything critical,
Nope, I'm just taking it all in.
okay. Good answer.
Smart guy.
So anyhow, Bill, Jen, good work. This
Yeah.
is-
So
they've done
I'll
a
keep you
very
guys
nice job.
updated, but not too much in the weeds. How
Okay.
about that?
Good. All right, Steve. The track.
Well, it might be me and Bart.
Oh.
Bart and I, to be grammatically correct. Do you want to take him through,
Me
take
and Bart
us through
sounds
the
better for the
geotech
song
call and what happened, or do you want me to?
You go ahead, I'll
Yeah.
fill in.
So we all took a look at the geotech report, which said rip it all out. And Bart remembered, and so did Jim Horrible. The track back in the day was done the right way. Solid, pavement section, gravel, and what's solid and has lasted, when you talk about except for the surface. So we had to call Bart, I, and Woody with the geotech engineer from Down to Earth Consulting, Ray, who took us through the reasoning, and it was actually pretty compelling. Right. And part of the reasoning is that even though there's a gravelly, silty material underneath the aggregate, which is underneath the pavement, there's fines in the voids, and there's a frost susceptibility issue, which will cause heaving if you don't do it right. And when we saw the borings, it was like, oh, there's some gravelly stuff underneath the stone. So why can't you just grind it? No, not grind it up, but just mill it down or do a mill and overlay. And he said because you really want a not solid 12 inches down from the top of pavement down of basically engineered structural fill that's going to be well draining. So he took us through that, and he also commented that the original design drawings actually had 6 inches of aggregate, right? Was it 6 and 6? Yeah. Anyway, he said that when the contractor was doing the track originally, they might have seen this material and said, why should we excavate it out when you have great stuff here? Which I heard on Porter's Pass, and we dug up all that stuff. Yeah, and he said, and it looks good
all the way through, which is exactly what
right.
happened in
And they're
high
experts.
school.
They've experts. They've done 50
Yeah.
years.
That was one option. That was one scenario where the contractor who was doing the work looked at it and said, hey, it looks good. It's well draining. Why take it out? I'll give you credit. The other option would be he put it in, or he or she put it in, but then fines over the, since the 90s? Yeah, migrated up into the engineered material that he put in, but more likely it's a contractor said, I'll give you credit, I need to take this stuff out. I'll throw the 6 inches and the 3 inches and be done with it.
So he wants to take everything down 12 inches?
Yes.
Well, he wants to
This is under
test.
He wants
theory.
to.
Well,
Never
they
tried to
talked
do it
about
right,
milling
but
it
always
up
thought
and
it
Yeah.
seeing what's down there.
Yeah. So we talked about full depth reclamation, which is grinding up the whole thing, getting and he said the material underneath, when mixed with the pavement and the millings and also the aggregate, probably would be fine if you had a good quality control program. Or you could peel and pave, as he calls it, take it all out, which is taking out 12 inches of material. Yeah. So I was lobbying for reclamation because you don't have to take out as much stuff. We do it on the roads all the time. And he was saying, well, it's messy. You have a new turf field. You have the strip drains all over the place.
Looking at soft spots on the track.
Yeah. So we got our milling.
So
Yeah. So we had some questions. I got back to him with information from the milling company about how deep they want to go, and they don't like to go. They don't want to go 16 inches, or they want to go 8 to 10 inches.
Right.
So, but they gave us some costs. It's like I think it was 22,000 and 10,000. It was 10,000 for full depth, and then what the milling company was saying, they were lobbying for mill to base, which is you just mill down, take off the top 3 inches of the pavement, go down to the aggregate. But he's probably not comfortable with that because of the frost issues.
Right. He wants to get down to better stuff.
So, Woody, do you have anything to add on that, or is that a sufficient recap of it?
Worse than we thought. Yes.
Yeah. So right now we have the original geotech's recommendations, which are to rip it all out.
Which is the Cadillac plan.
The Cadillac plan.
The question is, do you want to repair this thing for 30, 40, 50 years? Or do you want to put, not a Band-Aid, but a good piece of gauze on it?
Yeah.
And get
And
15 years
When
out.
was the track last done?
30 years ago.
Yeah, I had already
Actually,
moved to
Woody
town.
knows this off the top of his head.
1995.
1995 was when it was put in.
Yep.
Then what was the first overlay? 2000, no.
2013 was the first overlay, and we did an overcoat in 2017.
Yeah. So there's
we're
been,
working on this thing every 5 to 6 years.
Probably.
When I first moved here is when they did the major one. I moved here in 94,
Yeah.
95.
when they
Correct.
first built.
Yeah.
They bought the piece of property
Right,
back.
right.
Actually, I have Woody's PowerPoint, which
So
is.
that's a lot of work that's been done in 30 years on a track, which,
Oh yeah, okay, here it is. I'll give you some numbers too. 93, 94, it was constructed at a cost of about $560,000. 2008, the top layer of the track was removed and resurfaced for $450,000. 5-year warranty. Okay, another $500,000, and that was probably a mill and overlay, right? And then in 2018, the track had an additional layer of track material put on for $130,000 with a 3-year warranty.
And it was a
seal.
Yeah.
So that's $1,150,000 on
30
2
years.
years. Yeah, which is more than you should spend if you do it right in the first place.
I'll leave it up to the experts, but anyway, it's an old track.
Yeah.
And it's been rehabbed twice.
Right.
So
the building that's going up on it that we're the experts on, what's going up there?
the building.
I'm being facetious.
Well,
what do they want us to do?
Well, what Ray from Down to Earth said, and what Bart just kind of recapped, is you don't have to go for the 30-year. You could go for a less peel and pave, less material. Say if you want to go for 20-year or whatever, we as the client can make that decision. Don't spend 1.5. Spend whatever is comes $800,000, whatever it comes out to be, for less of an excavation or a less of a digging, an excavation approach.
Right. Because we don't know what we're going to find when we start milling.
You never do.
We could find crap.
Who's the advocate for this? The Board of Ed, Parks and Rec?
Woody, who's the advocate? Who's the sponsor? Who's the requester?
The official statement of need came from the Board of Ed.
Okay.
Facilitated through the town to town council, back to the BBC, back to town council.
I think we got an opinion from them. Do you want a 20-year track, a 10-year track, a 5-year track? Think about your budget for those years.
Yeah,
I don't think
the Board of Ed maintain this?
No.
Right?
I mean,
no, Parks and Grounds would maintain it.
Woody maintains it.
Right. So why would the Board of Ed?
Well,
because they're the official.
They run it. Well, they run events on it. Yeah.
So they're the ones that are going to complain.
So
because it's not used by anybody other than the high school.
We never got a report on the coating. Everything, because that's what piqued my interest. You looked at the logs; there was no water in there.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
It was actually all of them were dry.
All of them were dry.
Yeah.
When you're saying we didn't get a report, who is we? Not the PBC.
No,
we had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, we did. We got a report. A&I introduced it.
Oh, A&I.
Right.
Okay, for this
they did
bidding purpose.
Right.
No. Well,
they went and did bore industry here.
Down to Earth.
Down to
Yeah,
Earth.
that's right. We got too many consultants. Yeah.
They did a report. They did borings.
Yeah.
They took logs. They came through. None of the logs had any water. None of them. And the question is, well, did they do it during high groundwater season? Well, they should have done it during high groundwater if they're trying to find a solution. And we never found out. Was that a top coat applied wrong? Was they using wrong materials? Did we not apply it correctly? That never came up. All we got was this report that said, okay, we're going to replace the track. This is the way we're going to replace it.
So I'm going back to my original statement. We have to go back to whoever proposed this to the town.
The board.
Why do we need something done with the track anyway? What's wrong with the track?
It's got a few cracks.
Right, but who's saying it's failing?
Right.
Is it the base is not failing?
I don't know. We didn't get that.
Yeah, well, Woody, it seems like surface distresses, right? Mainly.
Correct. Yes. Right now we have a lot of areas with delamination where you have a bunch of cracks, and as it gets warmer and colder, the expansion, the contraction, and if you walk onto the track where you'd come down from the school, that is the biggest area of wear. And then as you make it around closer to the retention pond, which I think would be the east side, you'll also see a lot more of the delamination and the cracks. And with this winter that we've had with the water getting in there and expanding and contracting, just like a road alligates, I think we're going to have the same situation once we have a thaw in the spring.
It could be, again, what everybody's saying here, it could be that the base is fine and that the sealant was applied incorrectly. Now, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about tracks.
I would recommend that we get out to an architect that does this kind of work, does designs tracks. And I would say we do two things. One is have them review the borings, let them come up and tell us what they think we should do. And I'd have plan A would be to look at resurfacing the track, and plan B would be replacement of the track. And we'd put numbers on both of those and let the town council and the Board of Ed decide what they want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we kick this back and forth till, till we're 30 years from now. But right now, I think those are the two options that, based on what you're telling me so far, I think those are the only two options that make any sense. I mean, what do you guys think? Because we got to bring it to conclusion somehow.
Yeah.
And probably the best way to do it would be to hire an outside firm to come in and do a design for it. Tell us, here's what we want to do. We want to either resurface it and fix it so we got another 15 years out of it, or does it need to be replaced, and come up with a design for the replacement, and we put it out to bid, get all the numbers back, and ask the Board of Ed and Town Council, what do you want to do? So I mean,
maybe they could do it a deeper dive on the actual coding and where is it
Correct.
failing.
Yeah, because we're not
Almost like-
experts in that.
Yeah.
We're not experts in that. I would rather
Yeah.
get someone that is and let them tell us.
Yeah. And they might have to do a mini course, just maybe like almost like Wish Jenny did with the slab,
But to Don's point, do we know have any idea how much something like this might cost? And do we have the funds? I mean, I still don't know whether we have the ability to order up to $50,000 to go through some of these studies, or whether you have to go back to town council.
Oh, you mean funds for the study? Yeah. I'll find out. I don't know if there's an account that was set up, but I would say that's secondary. I would say, we have to do this. Yeah. Go do it, and then we'll figure out how to fund it with Ryan and the council and Kevin.
Well, I think we ought to let Ryan and Kevin know ahead of time that, look, this is sort of evolved into this because of what we found and the issues.
Right.
And,
Because there may be fixes there that we're not even aware of.
Right.
You could use a PIF system and use pressure injected footings to stabilize it so we don't have any problems with frost in the future. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done out there. I'm not saying I'm an expert at any one of them, but I think we need someone that is an expert on it to tell us exactly what we need to do and how do we get 20 years or 25 years of life out of this track. And it's either a replacement or we could fix it. So, and again, I'd rather have someone that has more expertise in this field than we do.
Well, then, with your permission, and I'll get Woody's help, maybe I can go to one designer and say, what's the ballpark cost in taking a look at this? And I would think it's determine what's failing, what is actually failing in this cross section, and then what the options are. And now as far as how far do you want this initial look to go? Do you want to come back with plans? Or do you want them just to look at it, give us the options and ballpark cost estimates, and then
ballpark costs.
Okay. All right. So it's kind of high level right now, conceptual.
Yeah. Options.
Not,
What are your
final
options?
design. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I call
what's
it order of magnitude pricing.
Okay. All right. All right, Woody. More work for us.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So okay.
All right.
Go to bed.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
No problem.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, next is new business, the Worthington Meeting House. And this has been, before I let the ladies begin to speak, this is referred to the Public Building Commission for review of the building history, progress to date, existing conditions, and an architectural proposal for construction drawings. So I guess that's what we're looking at.
Do you want us to move over there?
You can come anywhere you want.
Absolutely. I'll get out of the way. That way you guys can own the corner.
There's extra chairs. We could-
No, but if you want it to be a duet. How about that? Like that.
Because sometimes people can't hear me. Make sure you hear me. But first of all, I want to say I am so impressed with everything you guys do. I'm like, how do you keep all these
We haven't even
projects
cursed tonight.
and details straight? My head is spinning. But thank you. I know, I want to commission myself, and I know it's a volunteer job, but the public appreciates it. So you've been given a lot of materials, and I don't know if you have time to go over it. We don't want to take up an hour of your time going through the whole history, but I've been involved with this for 20 years. And Nancy lives next door to the building, and she's part of our group also. So she knows some of the history even farther back than I do because she witnessed it. But I didn't know if you.
My suggestion would be this. I mean, I think we're all
Yeah.
the commission has changed a little bit, but there's been enough people here who know the history of what's gone on with the building. If it sounds like you're moving again, it had a delay from, I call it pre-COVID, where you were talking about funding back in 2018 and 19, and then nothing happened. I mean, we did a little bit of, the town did a little bit of money to sort of what I would call settle the building inside, and there was a plan by, I can't even remember who, to put an elevator in and build an addition outside. You guys didn't like it, they didn't like it, but all the time in the background was, this is a lot of money, where's it going to come from? And the town or somebody had to figure out that, and so it came back and forth, and we monitored, I guess, a little bit of the spending of the money 15 plus years ago, even more than that.
I think it was like 2005 or 2007.
20 years ago.
I know you were on the commission, but
I've been here like
I don't think
sales
you
rep.
other guys were.
Yeah.
But
so
that's when the major stabilization was
it was
done.
just a stabilization of the building, right?
Yeah,
right.
so it's structurally sound, and the whole project came in 100,000 under budget.
Right.
You know, and
that portion of it, and there's money sitting someplace, but that's just to get the building where it is today. Which, if you go by, for anybody who wants to go by and look at it, it clearly needs paint on the outside because it was last painted 20 years ago, and that the paint is long past its expiration date. But then inside is empty.
it's kind of a blank slate
It's
because
just a cement floor.
well, no, there's no
We're-
cement.
we're-
So
In
there's
my
a lot of
mind, I
wood.
guess
There's a
I
lot
had
of
a
old
version of what was there, which is, but you're right, it's not cement. It's
Well,
just an
what
empty floor.
What had happened is way back after the building was vacated and back in the 70s, the first work that was done on it, they completely gutted the inside. So it's basically the bones.
Right.
And the posted beam frame.
Right.
And it's kind of a blank slate.
But they put a new foundation in. I realized that cost a lot of problems.
they
So
did
moved
in-
the house and then moved it back.
They did in 1980 because
Right.
the excavation that had been done in previous years had gone down too far.
Right.
And it was collapsing. I actually was the one that found the collapse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
And-
you
and
live-
because I live right next to, I live
We used to come up here and visit
immediately
before
north.
I moved up here. One
Yeah.
of my friends lives
Yeah.
one house away from you.
So they physically
So we
moved
used
the
to look
building.
at it through the kitchen window.
Yeah. They had to physically move the building off the foundation, completely take out the old brownstone and pour a new
So
foundation.
now it is where it is.
Okay.
And I guess, I mean, we deal in the construction of, buildings, publicly owned buildings. And this is owned by you might want to change your pamphlet here if you're going to fundraise, because you said here FOWMH Inc. is a 401c3 nonprofit organization.
That's right.
That's not correct.
Yes, it is.
I'm an expert in this. A 401c3 by the IRS code
Oh,
is
501c3.
you're a 501c3.
Oh my
401
God.
means
Yeah, that's
profit
right.
sharing
That's the wrong one.
stock, and if you start to
Oh,
people ask you
we're a
questions about
501, thank
who's
you.
getting stock. If
Do you
know
realize
who's
how many
working.
times that was proofread?
So many
You
times it's
found
a
it
common
first.
mistake. Should have come
Yeah.
to I lent billions of dollars to a lot of these people, and it's
Well, thank you
it's
for pointing that out.
501c3,
Oh my
or
God.
you're going to get some shrewd investor who is probably who your target market is saying,
Oh my.
"Why am I giving stock options to the corporation that owns this?"
Well,
So-
you just made my day.
501c3 is
Yeah.
the code. That's
Yeah,
what
of course I know that.
everybody does, and it's a
Yeah.
common mistake. But
Yeah,
just
okay. Thank
to
you.
correct your, I know you printed it already, but
Yeah, we spent a lot of money in printing
Yeah.
that too. So I don't know how much background you need. I was just going to kind of explain, because I don't know if you looked at the fly through. It goes it goes really fast.
Yeah, no.
So
That's what we do. That's the easiest part for us. The hard part I would have in reconciling this is what do you want the PDC to do?
Okay, well, let's get to that then. So you know from the other night, because you're on finance, that the funding for the painting and the,
We're not on finance. That's a separate committee. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say they
Oh,
approved it.
okay, fine. Okay, right.
They approved the funding.
Right.
So we're ready.
Funding for painting.
For painting.
Right.
Yes, be clear. Painting, and it needs some exterior repairs because there's been wood, some of the, and the eaves, there's sections of molding missing, some rot and whatnot. So I'm not quite sure.
That was my question, because I have experience in this. Did the painters look at the condition of the wood? Because if they start sanding and doing some stuff, you might find that with a 260-year-old building that some of that disintegrates like it did in my house. And you need to replace it with, Western red cedar or similar clapboard, which will not be cheap.
Doug is on here, but I made it quite clear that they need to do everything right on this, and the architect and the Connexo that Doug is dealing with, they were on site and inspected this whole thing to determine what needed to be replaced.
I'll check with Doug.
Is Doug still on?
Yes.
Doug, do you want to comment or?
Here he's waking up.
Wake up, Doug. Is he still there?
Who's coming in? Piece by piece.
Yes. Good evening. Yes. As Lorraine said, the contractor and the architect did site visits to kind of determine the scope. So there's some allowances and unit costs for the clapboard and the wood siding restoration. We're hoping to obviously not have to replace all the siding, but they did account for some carpentry repairs with the siding and the molding. And obviously, as they get into it, there may be some more rot that they find, but it is all encompassed into the project to remove all the paint down to the wood and then reprime it in 2 coats of paint.
Okay. I wanted to ask though, like, Doug, are you and your team overseeing that painting project, or will this commission be overseeing it too?
We won't be. The commission won't.
Okay.
I mean, that's not something that we do, but Doug, the town.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to understand everybody's roles.
Would be probably, I don't know, Doug, are you guys pitching in on this?
Yes, the town is the owner, and also we've asked that QA&M Kent also do construction administration to kind of help oversee the painting and all the restoration, just because he's been involved from day one. He knows the scope, he knows the state requirements, so we've asked that they provide some CA services to assist us for the project also.
Okay, well, that was my next question. Who specifically owns the building?
The town of Berlin.
Town of Berlin, not the Friends of Worthington. So what is your role, since the town owns the building?
Okay.
You're a corporation. Friends of Worthington Meeting House, Inc. is a corporation. You have 401c3 designation for raising funds for charitable purposes. But you don't own, excuse me, do you have a lease with the town? Okay. I'm thinking of this as a banker, which is what I did, and I'm trying to figure out who the heck's responsible for this. That's all.
Yeah. Well, to give you some background, like originally there was a meeting house committee, I think it was called a committee, that was formed by a town manager when we first started this 20 years ago. And those of us on it, after that first stabilization project was done and the money the town allotted was spent except for 100,000, the committee was disbanded, and we asked the town council, which was a different town council at the time, okay, what do you suggest we do now to keep this moving forward? And they said, you should go out and form a nonprofit. So,
okay, so that wasn't formed before this. That was only formed in 2003 or whatever that was. Yeah.
My understanding was because we're a nonprofit, we can accept donations and people get a tax write-off, which isn't because of the whole standard deduction being so
Except if
high
you're a
now.
401c3, which you can't do, so change it.
This is showing off
Anyhow,
now.
yeah.
So whereas if you gave money to the town,
Right.
it's a different
Not taxable.
thing. Plus, we're an advocacy group. We've been the one constantly, promoting this project.
And the
having
town can't be an
events and
advocate, it
everything.
loses its tax status. They can't raise funds, it's illegal.
Right. So we kind of are supposed to be working as a partnership. That's how we see it.
Okay.
So the funds you're raising, is it going towards the building eventually, or is it going to help you raise more funds? If that's the right way to put it.
It's going, eventually will go into the building, but right now we're using the funds to leverage more funds. So
Right.
to
So you would
build up money.
You, in theory, you would give the money to the town and you have that earmarked to go toward the building.
Right.
Although this money is.
Right, but this money right
This
now.
money right now, the first for the painting is coming from the town.
Right, no, I'm talking about the
Yeah.
rehab.
Right, so that's why we're involved.
I'm starting in the beginning. We're involved because of the painting, technically.
Okay.
Because it's a town asset. The town is paying $300,000 to have the town's building painted, which is why Doug and his group and maybe Mike, but probably Doug will be overseeing this.
The current
from us.
estimate is 235,000.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess. I'll make a small wager here. It's gonna be a little bit more. But
everything we've done in this building has come in less. Just remember that.
You just boost the project. I just want to say that. You want to retract that statement?
Well, the town estimated it was going to be it was like 100,000 something to bring in utilities to the building, and it wound up being 30,000. So
That
we've
was
had a
that.
history of this.
That was that.
That was
That's
that.
Okay.
Costs have gone.
What's Q&M charging you to manage the project?
I don't know. I
Or
have
is
to ask Doug.
Give us Doug.
Doug doesn't come back.
Well,
Hi, Bart.
Q&A.
They're going to charge us They're going to charge us hourly.
Straight hour, they're not gonna give you a break on the price or anything?
Yeah, they gave us they offered their reduced rate as a vendor, so they're just going to kind of be there when we need them, just to kind of step in and oversee and make sure everything's following the scope. So it's not a huge lump sum cost. It's just they're going to do site visits and oversee and make sure everything's following the scope and the spec based on the
Perfect.
recommendations.
That's for the painting?
Correct.
Or okay.
The painting and the external repairs.
Right. So this proposal and addendum that we were sent for 79,000 and an additional 33,000. What's that for?
That was back in the day in 2018 to take the conceptual plans, design development, which the fly-through video reflects. This is to take it to full construction drawings for bidding, and then also the alternate for CA should it go out to bid and be awarded. So we've never asked them to update that proposal. That was just to give you where we are to date on the project. If we want to take
Is
the full
it still in existence? Do we still have an agreement with QA&M? Or are we going to go forward with that? Or what?
It's been open. It's still kind of open-ended. Nothing's expired, or we have the option to kind of re-engage with them. But
okay,
that's where we are to date. Like you said, everything kind of just been mothballed since 2018.
Yeah, we had a very good relation. We have a very good relationship. I've had to talk to Kent McQuay several times over the years, and he's always been very helpful.
They're good. Yeah. They've been very helpful for the town.
And
No question about that.
he's
But-
their architect that specializes in historic preservation.
Right. Which is absolutely what you need. I'm more concerned with, though, there's no such thing as getting half pregnant when you have money involved. Once you start spending the money, it either stops like it has here, and you spent $500,000 20 years ago and nothing's happened. You gotta go forward ultimately to finish the ultimate end. So my question was, when I saw those drawings inside and the flyby, it looks nice. But is that your ultimate goal, is to get the building so that it looks like that? And then here's the drum roll. How are you going to raise revenue other than donations? Like, that's just to get the thing started. Once you're going forward, there's not taxes, but there's utilities, maintenance. Unless everybody donates their time, you're gonna have to pay salaries of some people that work in there.
You're talking about once we're operational?
Yeah.
Once we're
I
completed.
work as
Yeah, I
a
see it.
lender, I
Yeah.
work backwards.
Yeah, I see
It's
it.
all this stuff, fine when you get someplace, but then you gotta, you could have a nice car, but if you don't have a key, you can't start it, you can't drive it anymore. So ultimately what the plan, because what you ultimately want to use it for is gonna determine how you're gonna design the building. So when I read through this, it sort of sounded like you had a whole bunch of ideas, but specifics were.
Well, that's why I say the fly through, it's hard because you're not getting the narrative about what's going to be in there. Our plan has been to move the Berlin Historical Society collection over there and have that around the whole perimeter of each level.
Okay.
There's 3 different levels involved in this building because basement
Right.
would have a meeting room, restrooms, kitchen, storage, utilities, that kind of thing. But there's plenty of wall space for stuff. And again, on the main floor, there's also room for art and display cases around the perimeter. And then you have that huge center where you could set up chairs and tables and things like that. So, like I said at the meeting the other night, Berlin Historic, we wear a couple hats because we're both in Berlin Historical too. And we didn't want to say, well, this building is just museum for us because it's a town building. It should be available to everybody, not just visiting the museum, to use it for meetings, for events, lectures, music, things like that. So we call it like a museum and cultural community center. And, we found as the Historical Society, it's hard to find meeting room space, especially like if you want to have things like other than the hours that the library or the community center are open. So it gives a little bit more flexibility. And then Berlin Historical Society had kind of extended themselves by buying the little house and the 1.4 acres behind it to extend the green space and work in partnership with the town.
So it sounds like the Berlin Historical Society has found a way to get money. If they were able to buy a house and land.
We inherited money from a member.
Okay, so you got
for the house.
We had.
But they got an asset then.
What's that?
They got an asset then.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
And we've had events up there, and that's actually an old house that when we brought it, all volunteers worked on this, donated materials and labor to bring it back to its original look with white floorboards and paneling and everything like that. So, I mean, it's adding to this greater campus as we see it as an asset to the town. I mean, we have people come there and they say, remember that guy that said,
yes.
This is better than Sturbridge Village? And we're like, well, that's kind of a hyperbole. But he said, it's like real, where at Sturbridge Village, they hauled all the buildings in there and created a village or whatever.
Yeah.
I know you appreciate history.
But again, my hat is always looking for revenue. I mean, because everybody has if you saw the number of ideas we see at banks about people who have a great idea, but no money. And what works isn't great ideas. What works is you have to have the capital to do this. So if you're working backwards, there's got to be because what you want to do, ultimately what you want to accomplish, this, the painting is just going to stabilize the outside for a little bit of time. You're still going to have to raise multiple millions of dollars to do the inside with a big old crooked number in the front. Just so
oh, sure.
And if you can show a revenue stream,
and in order to
that's
get
going to
that,
help get that money.
In order to get that, my guess is you're going to have to look for some grants and some donations from wealthy benefactors.
Yeah.
I'm talking really wealthy benefactors. $5 and $10 isn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
And people like that want to see, hey, I mean, they're asked all the time for money. So what they're going to be asking is, how are you going to keep this? It's great to get the thing done. How are you going to keep it going? Look how long it's taken now, since 1980. And the building hasn't really changed. I mean, from the outside, it looks the same as it did in 1980. If you're just a normal JQ person driving down the street, you look over, oh, I saw that 50 years ago. Looks the same yellow. Maybe some bunting on the outside. But time sneaks. And when somebody gives you a lot of money, in order to raise grants, you're going to have to really work on how. Nobody's going to give you money unless you can prove to them that there's a high likelihood that this thing is going to get built. And they're going to work backwards and say, well, how are you going to get it built? It's going to cost you $4 million to do what you want to do, or $5 million, or $3 million, whoever, depending upon what you want to do. The difference between 3 and 5 is, well, what do you plan on doing with the building? And then how are you going to raise revenue to upkeep capital budget? Maybe you make a deal where you borrow some money from somebody, unless you plan on getting the whole thing donated. So these are things, that I thought about, which is fine to stabilize the building. And if you want to keep going, before anybody's going to give you a grant at the state, I think, given the finances that the state is in right now, you're going to really need a program on how you're going to raise a lot of money. Just based on my experience in going to ask a state that is in much worse financial condition than the present governor will let you know. They're going to be, stuff like this is going to be harder to come by.
Yeah, no, I'm
So I'm just
experiencing
trying to tell you
that
how you get prepared on what to do.
because the State Historic Preservation Office, they have a grant, but the max is 200,000, which is like
That's
dropping the
not going to
bucket.
get you half a roof.
Plus, like, that money comes from the National Park Service,
Right.
and they
may-
got
who knows if
severely
they-
cut.
Yes.
So the State Preservation Office only got a fifth of what they normally get. So we had applied again this year, but they're also looking for, they don't want to just hand out money if you're not close to finishing the project. And they want to see that the town is behind this too, that it's not just like some outside group doing this, because it is the town's building.
Well, that goes back to my point, is who owns the asset?
The town.
The town owns the asset. So the town is going to have to be you're going to have to convince that town to be the advocate for getting.
We're working on
And
it.
we've talked with
a
them
huge
about it.
amount. I'm just laying the cards on the table as honestly as I can to not give anybody false hope. It's going to be a lot of money. And the sources of money are going to be harder and harder to come by. Exactly what you're experiencing right now, we're only in the beginning, in my opinion. I think the state is going to have less money. The state, depending upon what political party the state is deemed to be, if it's in one, it's going to get less money sent to it from the federal government. The federal government is in a huge hole, $39 trillion. They're going to be looking for ways to cut back. And you got a long road to hoe to ask for money, unless you, in my opinion, unless you can prove that there's some revenue behind that can be to the benefit of the town and the users. So that and since you're not the owner of the building, the town is going to have to figure out how it can justify spending whatever money it's going to spend. And maybe it's the town has to go and apply for money. But I don't know what sources of revenue you're going to get in terms of donations to ultimately construct this.
We need to get wealthier people, because I would say, like,
that's where I think you're going to have to go, is private citizens
yeah.
to the tune of a lot of money.
But so this means a lot to, like, all the people who have donated already.
Yeah. And they're probably
I feel,
over 50 years going, hey, what's happening with my money? I'm sure people have passed away saying, what's going on with my money?
Yeah.
But
I mean, we have people are making ongoing contributions in memory of
no, I know.
I just feel I have a responsibility to keep out this.
I get it. But again, if you $200,000 grant is, it's gonna be
Yeah.
So if we go back to what because we were
So if you-
referred to you, right?
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Yeah,
And I'm questioning
I'm
why
very,
the town, I mean,
yeah.
I think I understand why they sent it to us. So,
I very much appreciate your perspective, by the way, and it
Well,
definitely
I'm
needs
I'm
to
known
be
for being
talked
very
about.
blunt.
Which is good.
And this is
Yeah.
this is what it is, because otherwise you're gonna get false hope. You have a road to hoe here, which is deep and difficult, and because you're asking people for money. It's not selling Girl Scout cookies. You're not giving anybody Thin Mints in return. You're just saying, can I have your money, please, so I can do this? And they may or may not. You're going to have to find somebody who is probably somebody from the town of Berlin, because I don't know if anybody from, Windsor is going to want to come down and give you $1 million for a quarter of the project for the Worthington Meeting House.
I have some leads and people who are interested who used to live here, but they still feel strong ties to the town and the building.
Yeah. No, I know what you're up against.
Yeah.
Seen it many times. And I think it's probably well to get the building painted on the outside and preserve it, because if you don't, it's only going to get worse quickly. As anybody who owns an old house knows.
Yeah.
So,
Well, just doing the cupola, that was like a bump up, because people, something's happening, and they love how it looks. It's like an object of art on the lawn, and that draws attention to the project, and like painting it and showing the town, showing that they care about maintaining it, and they're not just letting all the maintenance go on it.
well, maybe
that
put
means
the
a lot.
put a bug in the town, like maybe the town should use the building back the way they did, like housing the Board of Ed, or the town could use it as a building.
We had, the reason the plans took so long is because back after the major stabilization thing, they decided, because we had plans from a first architect that would move the nurses back there. And that's why they had planned on doing the elevator in the center of the building, because if you go in, there's like a big hole there.
Right.
Which isn't going to be there now. And then with the town council changing everything, then they decided they didn't want to do that. The nurses didn't want to move there anyhow. And they couldn't think of everybody wanted to be close to this building. So that didn't seem to work. So we went back to what was the original plan, History and Cultural Community Center. So,
which quite candidly appeals to a very small portion of the populace. Just, you're up against the tide, as it were. So, I think from our standpoint, stabilizing the building again, from the outside is almost you have to do it.
Yeah.
But then I think you'd have to, since the town owns the asset, you're going to have to really get the town charged up on what might the building be used for, and get the town to advertise, because I think you're really going to be up against it as a little 501c3 entity. Asking for donations is going to be almost impossible.
Seems like you need a church or the Historic Society, or someone who could become fully vested in purchasing it from the town.
Right.
You may need to go private, and you may need to have a church say, we want to worship there. This is how it was. We want to buy it. We want to have it. And it is sold from the town or something, and go private and go.
Right. The only people who are going to want to use it as a museum is the town, and the town's going to have to afford to spend X amount of dollars on a museum. But the town, so it's either the town raising the money through taxes to construct a building, which is going to cost multiple millions of dollars, or as Lisa said, you're going to have to hopefully find a benefactor, a church, a person, somebody who's got that kind of money to spend, because your sources of revenue, you're not going to get it with $100 a month or $100 donations. Just not. I've seen a million of these things. It never happens. And you've been
The American
You've been
Legion,
involved,
the
yeah.
Foreign Wars,
Right.
the Spartans Club, the Polish Club, the Italian Club, everyone who is privately invested in making sure that their buildings stay that way, and it's nothing to do with the town. So you may have to really go private and really get the people who are passionate about historic preservation and use the building in a way that they're passionate about maintaining the integrity of the town of Berlin.
I mean, the point is that you're in the classic problem of people like this. You have a nice idea, well-intentioned. There's nothing wrong with it. Only you have the money. And the people who are, you got to convince somebody who has the money to come with you. There's no other way. I mean, I hate to be.
Get it
I mean,
out of the.
yeah, there's just you gotta find a
Go
way to get
private.
the funds to do it, because your idea will never come to fruition without $5 million, $4 million, 3.5 if you scale it back. You know, it's why I don't want to sound cruel. I just want to sound honest. It's why a lot of buildings are not raised, R-A-I-S-E-D, they are R-A-C-E-D. They're functionally obsolescent. And there's no way you're going to get somebody to spend any money on it, because it costs way too much money to have a functional structure. It's a lot easier to build a new building. It's done all the time in all the cities, all the towns around the country. And what you're asking is for somebody to do the same thing, only they usually will come up with a source of revenue to pay for it.
So I think we're also looking for someone to respect the historical value of the building.
Yeah.
And seeing the potential of the historical value of the building.
Well, you gotta get
And
really
what you can do with this building, because
really
pardon?
creative. Gotta get really creative.
You do. We do. And
And
I
what
like I
is-
said, I appreciate this perspective. And I think we have some good conversation that we need to have around it. But it's not just a museum. It is a town asset that is.
Go back to my point right from
Yeah.
the beginning. The town owns it, not the Friends
Right,
of the Meeting House.
right.
So you have to convince
Yep.
the
Got
person
it.
or the entity that owns the asset, what
Right.
do you want to do with that asset? And I don't think anybody,
I
this
think
is my own
that's-
opinion,
yeah.
I don't
think
think
it's
anybody
good.
from the town has thought about that. I mean,
Well,
in-
we've been
in
talking
any-
to town council a lot. They seem
In
to be
depth.
behind it.
I think what they're doing, yeah, but look, since 1980, this has been floating around and everybody has gotten hot potato, hot potato, hot potato. Nobody's done anything with the building, and nothing's been done other than a little small.
Yeah, and for your information, at the time in 1974, when this building opened,
Mhm.
and the Board of Education was the
Mhm.
last tenant in that
Right,
building, if you want
right.
to say that, and they moved here. The Berlin Historical Society did petition the town to own the building, and the ownership of the building was turned over to the Historical Society, and they took it through its early grants that we received, and I wasn't even in town then, and then after the issue of the foundation
Mhm.
and the expense that it took to move that building and completely dig out a new foundation.
Historical Society had no money,
they-
so they sold it back to the town.
So, well, they gave it back to the
Well,
town.
yeah, I mean, they transferred it back to the town.
Yeah, they gave it back to the town. But I think your point is well taken.
So-
but in the event that we
No, I'm only saying this
No,
because
that
I
we
think what
work
you've got to
backwards,
do,
like you said.
you got to work
Yeah,
backwards.
yeah.
But
If-
the
in
first step is going to be the painting, and you're going to do that, and
Right.
Doug's going to do it.
Yep.
But after that, I don't know. It's referred to the Public Building Commission, I guess, for our opinion.
Well,
My opinion would be, I don't know where you go from there.
I don't know if it was referred for opinion about financing it.
No,
but-
I'm just, well, ultimately, it's gonna come there because that's what we do.
I think what we
And we
were,
construct the building, and they're gonna come to us for our opinion on how it's gonna be done, and who it's gonna do, unless you come with cash and build it on your own. The town doesn't do that. So,
well, my understanding was that the next step would be to get a cost estimate, because the last time we had one was 2017, I guess, and it was 2.5 million then. So how do we go about doing that?
well, the cost, again, working backwards, the cost estimate would be, could go from $6 million to $2 million, depending upon what you do with the building. If you're gonna have a more extensive, it's not all buildings are the same, not all houses are the same. You got, if you want a very plain house, it might cost X. If you want a nice big house with a lot of detail, it's gonna cost you 5X. So the answer is, it's up to you. Somebody's gonna say, what do you want?
But we have the plan.
Okay, so
Gave
that's,
you the design
So,
development
so when it
plans.
was, the original estimate was done, there were plans that the estimate was based on. Are those still the plans that you want to
Yes.
move
so
forward?
those,
you-
that hasn't
and are
changed
they
at all.
full?
No,
Are they-
I don't want to go back again. We've been through this for
Yeah.
so long. Everybody agreed on those plans. And it really works best for the building. We don't have to add a bump out. You know,
Doug
I'm
popped
just
on.
not going.
Doug's awake.
They were going to, initially, they wanted the previous architects wanted to build a separate structure attached to it. And that got way too complicated because in historic preservation with the National Park Service, this is a National Register building, that they don't want you to build an addition and have it look like the building, because it confuses people that they will think that that was original. So we were getting plans like with one architect wanted to do it all glass. Another one wanted to do like scallop shingles on it. Like,
You're actually proving my point for me. What an architect is gonna do is gonna say, what do you wanna do with the building?
And
How
we
you
know
wanna
what we
do
want
it?
to
And
do.
the fact that
But we
it's a
told
National
them in-
Historic Register
Yeah.
is gonna add more to the cost of the building. Just being brutally honest, they're not cheap. It's gonna cost more, no matter what you do, because of the very fact that everybody's gotta do and check with everybody else. There's all sorts of regulations. So what do you, I mean, I don't remember what you wanted to do with the building.
Well, it's represented by your fly-through, right? You wanna
we
do
just-
The
interior.
fly-through is what you wanna do is the,
we just told you it's a museum
I mean, yeah, okay.
and
okay.
cultural community center for events. People could rent it for a shower or something. We get calls like quite often from people say they assume this building is open. And even as shabby as it looks, they say, can I rent your building? Like constantly. Eversource called us and wanted to have a meeting there.
Oh, this is a revenue stream.
There you go.
Yeah.
They should
They're
buy
treading on
the
your
building.
electric
I mean-
Buy the building.
They should buy it and invest in
They
it.
could turn it into the
And live
Eversource
it.
Museum.
So then back to and I don't recall because it's been years, do you remember, you guys own it, are there plans? Did we ever get plans?
Yes,
Yeah. I think they
they
have-
were in your package, weren't they,
Well, look,
Lisa?
I didn't.
it was pictures, it wasn't plans. I mean, when I say plans, I mean,
No,
Oh,
I
there's
think
like,
Doug sent some stuff around. Doug,
Doug
could you just explain
sent
where
it.
what the plan, the level of detail the plans are?
Yes,
they're just,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, so what was sent out in the packet is design development drawings to date, which the fly-through video reflects. What the Friends are asking for in the town, the next steps would be if we can approve a proposal or ask for an updated proposal from QA&M, cost estimates for construction drawings. That would then, we'd have a shovel-ready project, which we can either apply for a grant or we can ask them with construction drawings, we can then go for cost estimates for what the project would cost based on the intent of the building to where it is to date. So that's kind of what the intent is tonight for the referral, is to say, we can talk in circles about what it may or may not cost or how much it's going to make, but they know what
So
they
that-
want. They know what they want the building to be in the
Are
end.
not QA&M's plans. They're
Yes,
Silver
they
Pet-
are.
Or they Silver Petrocelli's?
No.
No.
They're QA&M.
Q&A,
So
right?
QA&M did this back in 2018.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, and with construction documents, obviously we can, then go for cost estimates based on CD drawings, which would help tell the story more of where we're going to go from here, whether it's a town venture or private, municipal quasi partnership, however we're going to do it. But I think that the goal is to take it to CD right now, and that's what's before you tonight is that old proposal. Should we ask for an updated proposal, or are you comfortable referring something back to council to move forward with CD drawings?
Oh, you have to get, I mean, this is 8 years old. And
This could be $150,000.
yeah. Well, but again, that's not what they're,
Yeah, but that's not our.
That's their number. What's their number
89,000.
for?
79, and I'm sorry, yeah. Hold on a second. 89,200.
It's a $150,000 project now.
And
Easy.
when the project, and then they're going to add on an additional $33,000 fee to be construction administration when the project is ready to be built. So to get it where it is now, their fee back in 2018 proposal was $89,000.
It's a $150,000 project.
So, but that's 8 years. I'm sure that the costs have gone up.
Right.
So we're going to have to go back out.
It's going to double it at least.
Yeah.
Is QA&M still under contract here, or are we done with them? I mean, because we could just go back to them and tell them to update their number, right?
That's an option for sure. There's still an open contract based on where we are to date.
Tell them to update it. We could ask them if they'd update it and see what they would do. Yeah.
Well, it's 8 years. They're going to update their number. It's going to be different. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the next step here.
That would, like Rocco said, that'd be the first step, is just an updated proposal, and then we can talk further if we agree to that proposal for the next step of CD drawings, and then that would help us leverage cost estimates.
We'd have to go back to the town council and say, we're going to ask for
the money to design
the project, and we have no idea what's going to be, but our best guess, our professional estimate is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 to 160.
Doug, based on what they have for plans, what number do you think they can give us for a preliminary design number? And what kind of contingency? You're talking about 25, 30%?
Yeah, the CD drawings was 53,000, I believe, back then, and then their CA fee, if it went forward, I think was the 30-ish. So, we don't know without asking, obviously, but if with your permission, we would certainly ask for an updated proposal, and maybe they would honor that or have a small inflationary factor. But I think they're pretty vested in the project, and everybody wants to see this move ahead. So we may be surprised if we ask them for an updated proposal to kind of see where that comes in.
Will the council accept one bid from one company?
They've been pushing back on bid waivers.
Right.
So that's why they're under contract. Are they still technically under contract, Doug, in any aspect of this?
We can tell the story and connect the dots because there is still an open-ended contract for where we are to date that's been involved.
So it was never terminated or closed out.
Correct.
Okay, so that's one, and the other thing is they already have all the drawings and the CAD
And they did
files.
respond, Mike. They did respond. Where we are to date is based on a previous RFP. So, like I said, if we can tell the story, show the timeline, we're still engaged with QA&M. It took it as far as it did, and it stopped. So they did respond to an RFP. We did go through that process previously, but it hasn't moved forward since. So I think we can tell the story and get support based on where we are to date and what they've done.
Check with the town.
Yeah, sure.
Then I'm all right with going forward under that circumstance, but I can't say we should technically recommend it yet unless Kevin says, yeah, it's okay to do this, because I know they've been clamping down on bid waivers. So
Yeah, it would be Kevin and Ryan.
yeah. So maybe we can check with Kevin and Ryan to show them where we are, and as far as a PVC is concerned, we're okay with going back on that avenue, but then the town's going to have to recognize this, in addition to the contract for painting, it's going to have to spend an additional what is going to be 100 and call it 150, 10 to 15% either way, If we're lucky, it's lower. But we have to account for the fact that it probably won't be. So,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, with your approval, I'd certainly be happy to reach out to QA&M for an updated proposal, and then we can revisit it at the next meeting, and we can tell the story about, we can bring up the old RFP and talk to council and look at funding
Yeah,
options for the
go back
city.
to QA&M and also talk to Ryan and Kevin at the same time before you get the numbers, just to let them, give a heads up as to where this might be.
Sure.
We get numbers over the years. They have one number stuck in their mind, and the number comes back something else, and we don't want them to get sticker shock. All right, we'll do that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And then, we'll see where it is by the next meeting, see what comes back.
So they want to spend the money for that.
But the council wants to spend the money. We don't spend any money. The town council spends money. We just.
Are you going to make a motion to refer back to?
So, Okay. So I think we need a motion to refer the project, the Friends of the Meeting House project back to the town council to get a design and construction documents redone by, if it's possible, by QA&M. If it's not possible, you have to go out to bid.
Thank you.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Anything else you want to ask us?
No, I mean, you're, I know where you're at. Doug, when's the painting going to start?
It was approved by council, so we're looking at doing a site meeting within the next few weeks, and I think when the weather breaks, hopefully in March, we'd kind of have kick off the construction. The goal is to have it. They want to mobilize, so once they mobilize, they want to stay on site with the goal to be completed by the end of June, ahead of the America 250 for July 4th. So we may not see mobilization till April, but we're going to keep working on coordinating everything over the next month, and then have everything done by the end of June.
We should put you in charge.
Off the top of your head, how old's that roof?
That was done back in 2005 or 6.
So it's 20.
It's supposed to be a 50-year roof.
The whole roof was done?
Yeah.
It's a cedar.
I just don't.
Okay, new roof. Not new.
There was plans and specs, and Mike and Lisa were gracious enough to look through the archives, but we did find the project manual, the specs for that project that did go out to bid. The building permit from 2004, the contractor who did it was actually one of the contractors that worked on the high school for us recently. So it was all done through the bid process, the roof, the painting, the structural interior restoration, the shoring everything up, the foundation. So all that's on file. But to your point of the next thing is the interior build out, which is the intent of what's before you tonight, is to build out the interior for a multi-use space as a town-owned building.
All right, so the roof should last for another 20 years.
It's a cedar.
It's supposed to be, it's wood roof.
It's wood.
And it was quality.
Cedar shakes, yeah.
So they last a lot longer if they're done right.
They are.
If it's a 20-year-old roof, is that what I'm saying? So it could last another 30 years, 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good, at least. All right.
Everybody notices it. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
You live in the historic district, look, people. It's one of like the most important things in our town that bring people here, and that impresses them the most, I think.
Just out of curiosity, the house that you bought originally, I remember there was an issue with parking. People were talking about putting parking in the front of the building with those bricks that you grow the grass through so you can't see when you put cars on there. But is there room with the property that you bought to put more parking in the back?
Yes, there is. That was when we originally decided to buy the building, and when it was my neighbor Esther Woodruff. I don't know if you ever know Woodruffs. And she felt very strongly. She was terminally ill, and
Right.
she felt very strongly that that property belonged to the meeting house. Her view was just take down the house. Until we looked at the house and said we wouldn't do that, because we call it now the 1771 house, because we know that was around the time period that house was built.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Lorraine mentioned that we restored, but that was one of our original thoughts when we agreed that we were going to spend the money and buy the home from the Woodruffs, that it provided additional space, because actually the original land grant for the Worthington Meeting House is about the property that you see right now.
It's very tiny.
Yeah, because
And
they
the
drove,
parking is
they
gonna
walked
be-
or they
was
rode
and is
horses,
gonna be an
to
issue.
church, right?
There were no
That's
cars
what they
back
did.
then.
But they had wagons and stuff, but they didn't need a lot of space. But now we need space. And actually, when you look at when the Board of Education owned the building, there were parts cut out of the existing lawn that were actually parking spaces. So
Right.
there were more. The lawn has expanded a little bit now, makes it a little bit nicer. But I always say I don't want a parking lot next to me. But I also want we want the ability to park a lot of people if we need to.
I like to drive an Aston Martin too, but
Well, I'm fine with my Subaru.
all right.
Well, we've had events there, and I know this can't be guaranteed forever, but the doctor across the street lets us use the lot. And there is like parking on one side of the street. I mean, I can remember going to Berlin Congregational before they even had a parking lot, and all of Worthington Ridge was like cars.
Yeah, it was.
And it was no big deal.
And I let people park in my yard too.
All noted, except approval authorities would say, I don't care. You need 61 parking spaces. Anyhow,
Thank you for
we're
your
kind of
feedback.
late. Yeah, we got to go on to the Patterson Way. So that's
Thank
where
you.
we're going, and by next meeting we should have
Thank you.
some information, or if we have it earlier, maybe Doug or somebody can email you or give you a call and let you know what's what.
So get it painted the same color?
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, that's the
same
original
color.
color.
Okay.
Otherwise, it'd be even more money.
It'll be brighter.
Go
When
to
it's freshly
go to
painted.
Deerfield, Sturbridge, Old Weathersfield. Like all the old houses are painted bright colors because they didn't have white paint back then.
Yeah.
Look at your house.
Well, my house is dark.
Yeah, but it's not white. you know.
No.
I mean,
It
let's-
was at one time, but.
Yeah. Yeah,
that
I
was a-
remember I grew up with Patty Humphrey who lived in your house.
Okay.
you know.
Which house is yours?
It's the burgundy one on the corner of Sunset, across the street from Bill Travers.
The one with the big
So
boulder.
what we know as Cherry Fields.
Right.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. Well, now it's close to dark cherry color
Okay.
with a satin finish, so the water beads off of it instead of sticks on it.
So I'm the Greek Revival, right next
Yes.
to the meeting.
Right.
Oh,
right,
Nancy's
right.
house is white.
Yeah.
My house is white.
Well, when I bought the house, it was yellow. Bright
I remember
yellow,
that.
freshly
Dr.
painted, and
Zacchio.
within 2 years,
Yeah.
it was black. They
Did
painted
you buy it?
right over the mold.
Oh, yes, of
no.
course.
Cost me a fortune to take all the
Did you
paint.
buy it from Dr. Zacchio?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, his wife. He
His
wasn't-
wife,
He
yeah.
was long gone out of the picture then.
Okay.
Took her 7 weeks to move out. She couldn't go. I'm sorry, Mr. Reed, I can't.
One more item on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, we're done. What are you doing?
Oh, no, this is the why, right?
Patterson, no.
Yeah, okay.
thought we were talking.
Yes. So Patterson Way, there's been meetings between the Y, the mayor, and the town manager and stuff. So they're working on various agreements to get, I guess, some sort of design going on the community center or Y, whatever it's going to be. And then the second part of that is the town is going to be buying Robleski's parcel. So we got permission to use the grant money for survey of the parcel, because for closing they're going to do a lot line revision.
Okay.
Where Robleski's, he wants a little more room on.
He's not selling his house.
No, he's not. He's selling the
land.
5.6
Okay.
acre wetland parcel. But he wants a little bit more room north of his driveway, so there's going to be a swing out. So we're going to need a lot line revision map, survey, wetland delineation. So I think I floated a note around to you guys to use the QA&M grant, and we got approval from the Department of Mental Health, whatever the grant sponsor, to use the funds for that purpose because it's connected to the Patterson Way properties. So anyway, so with your permission, we already have a PO for QA&M.
Right.
They did a due diligence on the Patterson Way. They're going to be kind of doing the same thing north on the 5.68 Jerry's parcel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a scoop.
Are you still going to be able to? The town's still going to be able to use that as a
That's the
secondary
intent.
egress?
That's the intent.
Because doesn't that flood though?
Yeah.
Like, if he wants more
The
front,
lower
No,
portion,
but it
right,
actually, I thought it was like 50 feet, like parallel with his parcel, his lot line, but it actually swings out. It's not. It's almost like a pizza slice of pizza.
Okay.
So it's not a full 50 feet. It actually
It actually comes back. in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not as bad as I thought it would
There's
be.
going to be some mitigation.
No, there
Yeah,
will be.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's why we need the wetland delineation because
Right.
we're going to need to put it in. We're going to need to know where the wetlands are and report.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what they said.
Okay. All right.
So I'm going to go ahead with QA&M on that because it's all kind of wrapped up in the same project. We have the PO. I think we should. I will. But anyway, just
Okay.
let you know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That it?
That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tom's out of here. Fell asleep.
You want me to come back and sign this stuff tomorrow? Yeah, I'll come back in the morning.
I'll be here too.
And
They didn't get the YMCA to put a pool in the